This is the introduction to assignment 7. So in exercise 7.1, we're going to add a vending machine service tab. So now we finally get to run all those methods that have to do with something that a customer wouldn't need to do, but somebody servicing the vending machine might. So we're going to do this using the tab control. So now we'll have a tab control labeled vend, and basically these are all the things that we've been doing up until this point with the Windows application. And we will also have one labeled service that will allow somebody to see how much money is in the machine and add cans and things like that. Now you can do this work with list views or list boxes, either one. List views will be a little bit easier to control the formatting of, and list boxes will make the code a little bit easier to write. Now note here that I suggest that you drag and drop the existing controls from your Windows application onto the Vend tab of the tab control. And let me show you why I suggest drag and drop. So we have a Windows application here with a tab control with 2 tab pages and a button. Now if we run this code and click on the button, it brings up a dialog box, and we can dismiss that. All right, so clearly there's an event procedure associated with that button. Now if we go back to design view, what we can do is we can take this button and move it off of the tab page and then click to the other page and then drop that in. Okay, so this is essentially the same as drag and drop. I could have had the button on the regular client area or in a different tab page. Doesn't really matter. Now we run the application again, and as you can see, the button is no longer on tab page 1. I go to tab page 2, and I click on button 1, and you will see the click event procedure for button 1 execute. However, if I go back to design mode, and instead of drag and drop, I actually cut that button out and then go back to page 1 and paste it in, and then rerun the code and click on the button, nothing happens. So I'm clicking on the button, I'm not getting that event procedure. And that's because instead of doing a drag and drop, I did a cut and paste. So if we go back to design mode and then look at the events associated with this control, this button, go to events, you'll see that the click event is empty. And that's what happens when you either cut or copy a control and then paste it someplace else. In other words, all of the events got unwired. If I want to fix this particular problem, I can select the drop down and select button click, and that will rewire that click event, and now it's working correctly. However, this can be avoided if you drag and drop your controls versus cut and paste your controls. So in your service tab, using group box controls and some form of list control, you can display the cans of each flavor and a button that allows the user to fill the can rack, and then just call the appropriate methods from your business logic library. A couple of suggestions: if you do choose to use list view control, remember that data in the detail view does not show up if you don't have column headers. And in order to edit your column headers, right-click on the control and select Edit Columns. Optionally, we might want to add password protection to our vending machine. So for example, we would have a label, a text box, and a button that asks the user for a password before they can access the service controls associated with the vending machine. And remember, if you want to create a password control, use a text box and set its property use system password to true. So now when you run this code, if you type something in this text box, even though I'm typing letters, they just show up as bullet points. And that's the introduction to assignment 7.